we'll take care of the birthright citizenship, because that was not meant for rich people from other countries. That was meant for, actually, it was meant for the babies of slaves. If you look at it, it was a month after the Civil War ended that it went through. That's because it was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for rich people from China. They came over in Gulf Streams. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So I know they got it wrong.
Birthright citizenship is saved, but my question is, why was it ever in danger in the first place? Today, in a 6-3 decision, the United States Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship, or the 14th Amendment, rejecting Donald Trump's executive order that said children born to people in the United States who are here illegally or temporarily are not United States citizens. And in order to understand the gravity of this, you have to understand the 14th Amendment. It's 1868, slavery is over, and there's the question of the citizenship of the formerly enslaved Black American. And so we get the 14th Amendment, the amendment that says that you are a citizen of the United States irrespective of your race, ethnicity, or national origin of parents. And even the potential overturning of this amendment is something that we cannot stand for. But there's two things that we should be on alert about. The fact that this court case even existed in the first place, and the fact that it was a 6-3 ruling and not 9-0. 3 conservative justices ruled in Trump's favor: Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch. Pay attention.
Greetings everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again, and in today's episode you're getting to see that the Trump versus Barbara case verdict with regards to the birthright citizenship of Americans was passed on June 30th, and we're getting to see that the Supreme Court of the United States decided to stick with the constitutional rights of the Black Americans. And this was bad news, especially to Trump, given the fact that he was the individual who was pushing for this birthright law to be amended. And yet, this has become one of his major losses, as he had attempted to make constitutional amendment to rights of Americans. And this can be tied to the immigration rules. So we're getting to see that since he's coming back into power, Trump has been hell-bent with deporting, that is, both the legal and illegal immigrants in the United States. And if he had won this specific amendment, things would have not been the same for most people, especially the Black American community in the United States. So I'm requesting that you watch the rest of this episode to see how Black Americans are reacting to it. And kindly don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the share button while I come with my commentaries at the end of it.
Yesterday, the Supreme Court gave their opinion upholding birthright citizenship. And there were a lot of African Americans or Black people, Black Americans, who were in my comments upset about me being happy about the ruling. And I want to be able to explain some things, because some of the reasons why they were upset that I, as a Black American, African American, was celebrating the birthright citizenship ruling, was because they were like, this had nothing to do with us, as in African Americans or Black people. 1, 2, we are descendants of slaves. We built this nation. We built this country. So birthright citizenship being overturned would not have impacted us. And I want to be able to paint a better picture for those who are Black or African American that don't understand why them upholding birthright citizenship impacts us first and foremost. Now, one thing that you have to understand is that a lot of the immigration laws, immigration rights, and things of that nature are directly because of us. Because of us. We were mass immigrants, okay? To put it in terms that are simple for people to be able to understand a 1-and-1, okay? African Americans, Black people, descendants of slaves, were mass immigrants. But let me tell you why we were not citizens. Dred Scott decision is what told everyone that Black people were 3/5 human, and therefore confirmed our ability to be property. Okay, they removed our humanization and marked us as property. We had a $ value to each of us. We could not vote. We could not be in the town square. We could not read. We were not governed by laws where decisions could be made because we had no decisions. The laws that governed us, our people, our ancestors, were slave laws, also known as property laws. Property laws. That's why when we ran away, we could be returned to our owner. To our owner, okay? So, what did the 14th Amendment do? It gave us citizenship. That's what it did, right? It gave us citizenship. And what people need to understand is that all the way up to the War for Independence, there was mass discussions about sending slaves or descendants of slaves back to Africa. So while we are so far removed, I want you to know that the reason why white people, some of them, state you should return back to Africa is because that's always been a thing. So I'm going to help readjust your mentality in that they never saw Black people as being owners of the American dream, owners of America, period, right? So you have Dred Scott that's going on, right? The reason why they stopped trying to send us back when the War for Independence was going on is because we could be utilized to win. Post-win, all the way up to the Emancipation Proclamation. There was already discussions, once again, not amongst the slave owners, because they were never trying to let us go. But for those that were a part of the abolitionist movement, stuff like that, they were like, yeah, they should be freed. They should not live next to us, but they should be freed. So if we free them, what should we do then? We should send them back. We should send them back. All the way up to the Civil War. Now, by the time you see the Civil War coming on the scene, right, Emancipation Proclamation is rising up. You have nationally acclaimed Black leaders. There was a Black leader that was for us going back, found out the Civil War's finna happen. He said, oh, no, this is our land. Okay, no, we're part owners. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay put right here. We're going to stay put right here. And we're going to fight for our stuff because we built this. We don't know that. We were open to go and find out about it. But now, since y'all got something different on the table, we're going to go ahead and sit real tight. Okay? We're going to fight. We're going to hunker down. We're going to go ahead and grind this out to try to figure out what does freedom look like for us, for a land that we know, for oil that we've toiled, for soil that we have bled in. We're going to stay here. And even after that, we still weren't considered citizens. We still weren't having the rights to be able to vote, my friend. We still were not considered to be Americans. In marches the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship. That means that if you were born on this soil, you are an American citizen. So what gave us citizenship was the fact that we were born on the soil, not the fact that we were born to Americans, because we were never American until after the 14th Amendment. And I need you to grasp that. So while you have some people that say, oh, this has nothing to do with Black people because we're the descendants of slaves, I need you to understand what you are saying. Yes, we are the descendants of slaves, not Americans. You tracking? So while they're saying in our face, oh, Black people, you're safe, this has nothing to do with you, the 14th Amendment has everything to do with us. Because I mark myself American, not because my ancestors were American, but because the 14th Amendment said that my ancestors were born on this soil and therefore they are American. Period. Hope I cleared that up for you, my friend.
So the Supreme Court voted to overturn Trump's executive order regarding birthright citizenship. So what the Supreme Court has essentially said is that it's okay for you to fly like a motherfucking eagle over to America while you full blown pregnant, and you can drop your fuck trophy off here, and then they can gain citizenship. In what fucking world and in what fucking country is this shit even feasible? And why is it even possible for it to happen in America? But I'm going to tell you why it's possible. It's only possible because there have been too many immigrants that have infiltrated our body politic, and they are making laws to protect illegal immigrants and to subsidize those who come here both legally and illegally. And as indigenous copper-colored people who have been mislabeled as black, this should be a motherfucking 5-alarm bell. Like, this is like house on fire type emergency. You think I'm bullshitting when I'm not. Because what they're trying to do is slowly erase your identity and remove you from your ancestral homeland. This is why it's important for us as the original people of the Americas, as the true indigenous American Indians. It is imperative and necessary at this point for us to do our genealogy, because this is going to be the only way that we can prove who we are and gain back our country and take control and remedy some of this shit. Because the biggest lie they ever told you is that you also are an immigrant who was forcibly migrated here under a slave ship across the Atlantic. And that shit don't even make sense. That's some bullshit ass story. How the hell you gonna traffic that many people over here up under a damn boat with no proper damn sanitation, with no damn food supplies or fresh water to last that long? Like, some shit just don't even make damn sense. It really don't make sense. Do your genealogy, put your family tree together and discover who you are if you do not know who the fuck you are, because we are being invaded and they're trying to remove us from everything, from our land and from our identity, from our inventions and the shit that makes our culture. They're trying to make it theirs because they want to destiny swap with you, but they want to continue for you to believe that you're a damn African when you're not. That's why this whole immigrants built America lie is taking off. That shit is sorcery and witchcraft. Not one single dusty flip-flopping ass immigrant did anything. When they came over here, first started to come over here in the damn 1500s, their ass was a broke and poor. And ever since then, they sent they damn broke, they poor, they hungry over to this motherfucker to invade, to come up off you and your land. It's time to leave this two-party system alone. And it's time for us to actively form political parties so that we could vote ourselves into office to change a lot of policies and legislations that benefit other people besides you, because this is your homeland. You are not 13% of the fucking population. That is a lie. You are the majority. This is why they keep allowing other outside entities to come in and infiltrate our country at an alarming rate because the old guard is losing power, but they are banking on you to stay asleep long enough so they can continue to conquer you and remove you from your land. This shit is witchcraft and sorcery. You gotta wake the fuck up. This is our ancestral homeland. And this idea that if you born in America, you're American is asinine. It is asinine. You are not American. You do not have the blood or the sweat equity that we have as indigenous people. And if we don't protect us in our ancestral homeland, we will be driven out of it or enslaved in it. It's time to wake the fuck up, y'all. It's time to wake up, because they're going to tell you that you also an immigrant and that the food that you eat comes from Africa, because while they was getting ready to board a boat to be under a funky funk box all for 3 months, that they put seeds and shit in their hair. So this is why you get some of the food that you eat. It's a lie. They're going to tell you that the music that you create comes from somewhere else. That's a lie. Man, I'm going to say this shit one more time. Do your genealogy. It's imperative at this point. We are being invaded. And if you still under the spell that you are damn displaced as African, then that's going to be the shit that's going to get you fucked up. We are glad that TPS has ended, but there needs to be more. There needs to be a total overhaul. And I mean a complete U-turn and 360 overhaul of immigration policies in America. There needs to be a moratorium on legal immigration, and there needs to be removal of illegal immigrants here. It's not a right for you to flip-flop and roll your way into a country that you did not build. It's a privilege. And that privilege needs to be taken away, because y'all come over here as hostile actors to try to disenfranchise us. And we're going to have to put a stop to it.
And if you want to understand how fragile even the idea of birthright citizenship has always been, especially for Black Americans, read my once and future colleague Martha Jones' Birthright Citizens. It's the definitive account of how free Black people in antebellum Baltimore fought for the rights that most white Americans still think were settled by statute or by amendment. They weren't. They had to be claimed and defended and redefined long before the 14th Amendment ever existed. And that fight isn't over. And the court knows that. And they're happy to open up a new front. In fact, they're counting on the public not knowing that. They'll claim, because they're laying this groundwork, they'll claim they're restoring the Constitution's original meaning. They'll quote early 19th century opinions. They'll reach back to, of course, the founders who made sharp distinctions between citizens, white, male, property-owning patriots, and inhabitants. Everyone else. This is very clear in the founding documents. This is very clear in the work of David Ramsey. This is very clear in the first citizenship laws passed by the first federal Congress. Stephen Miller has already deployed that exact logic. True citizenship belongs only to those who inherited it through the revolution or earned it by naturalization, which was, for most of U.S. history, established by those patriots in the first federal Congress, limited to free white persons, explicitly excluding Black people and indigenous people from citizenship forever.
A whole lot of people thought that birthright citizenship was going to fail, okay? However, it did not fail. Okay, so if you are born in the United States of America, you are a birthright citizen. That is the ruling of the Supreme Court. And that is what so many of Black American forefathers fought for way back in the day, okay? Because back in the day, they were trying to base it on race and race alone. However, It's not based on race alone. It's about the fact you were born here. Okay? And contrary to what many people believe, Black Americans and white American abolitionists and politicians who were on the right side of history decided that early on. They were like, no, we're going to fight for birthright citizenship instead of it being based on race. Because if, in fact, they were to base it on race, they would have only let white folk be citizens, to be quite honest. They would have based it all on race. But now that I mentioned birthright citizenship and how the Supreme Court just upheld birthright citizenship and how this has been a long ongoing fight to get it way back in the day for Black Americans and white Americans who stood on the side of birthright citizenship, I want to talk about that because I ran into a comment. People didn't understand how Black Americans actually co-founded the United States of America, and this was one of the challenges that Black Americans actually took part in. There is absolutely nothing. Let me say this: there's absolutely nothing that took place in the United States of America good that Black Americans did not participate in. I'm gonna say this: the movie Roots has y'all screwed up. Okay. The movie Roots has y'all screwed up. Black Americans were doing more than just what you saw on Roots. Okay. If you care to even read the book I wrote on it, okay, Black Americans did everything in the United States of America the same way as white Americans did. Okay, there's no white people can do this, white people, Black people couldn't do this. No. As far as skill set, as far as surveying, as far as a lot architects, engineers, Black Americans did the same exact thing as white Americans, and Black America actually did it more because we were enslaved. Okay, we did it more. So the founding of the United States of America was not just white folk. I just want to get that out. I just want to get that out there. It was not just white folk. It was Black Americans. There's nothing, when I tell you, I want y'all to understand this. Enslaved does not mean just working in the fields. We did everything. Everything. We did more, actually. We did everything. That's exactly why Black America can hold this nation together, because we know what to do. We know what to do. Okay? Black America did just as much and more for the founding of this nation in white America. So even when it comes down to birthright citizenship, it was Black Americans who freaking created that bad boy. Straight up. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Okay. If it were not for Black Americans, there would be no birthright citizenship. If it were not for Black Americans, there would be no birthright citizenship. That's facts. That's facts. All of what is going on in the United States of America is because Black Americans fought for it and made this country, our country, live up to what it's supposed to be. When you want to talk about the rulers of the good in America, you're talking about Black America.
Ethnic Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, Sulan, are at the center of the Supreme Court justice decision today. And what's pissing me off is every time I turn on a news station, everybody's trying to diminish our role in this entire thing. Because one thing is because a lot of people are immigrants, and a lot of immigrants are so jealous of the fact that we are Americans. And even just like Sotomayor. So I was watching the attorney talk to Sotomayor and say, listen, we are basing this on the precedence of the fact that this law of birthright citizenship was based on the descendants, the children of slaves. And immediately she cut it off, switched it, and was like, well, also the gypsies. Who's talking about gypsies? Why are we talking about gypsies in America? Why did you deflect to gypsies? Why didn't you address the fact that, or have a counter to his point about ethnic Black Americans? And I've noticed that immigrants are so very, 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 not all, but most, are very jealous of our position in this country, because they hate the fact that people of our color and our complexion can have this kind of cemented place in a country that they want to be a part of so bad, and they're just not on some levels. And so what we have white Americans who are just given, carte blanche, because white Americans, this place was ruled and colonized for them specifically, right? And then you have us who were begrudgingly given citizenship because they know that they made us build this whole entire thing. We've been here for 4 or 5 centuries. We fought in every war. We're so entrenched in this country that they had to begrudgingly, and we fought for, give us this citizenship. So on one side, you have white Americans who are just kind of given carte blanche citizenship. It's just theirs, okay? And then you have us who have, with blood, sweat, and tears and labor, are embedded in this country with citizenship. And it's in our Constitution. The Constitution was changed to incorporate us into the fabric of America because we are America, our ethnogenesis in America. And they're so salty. The immigrants are, so many immigrants are so salty about it. And even, so you hear all the news networks when they're covering this situation, they're all trying to like not talk about the core argument, which is the fact that it's about ethnic Black Americans, children of slaves, giving citizenship not to immigrants. It was never designed for immigrants. And this goes back to the statement where we have told immigrants time and time again, if it weren't for us, you wouldn't be here. And they want to have all these tropes and narratives and try to twist American history and say, oh, we would have been here, or these non-melanated people gave us citizenship, they gave us immigration. No, they didn't. They did not. They didn't. It was based on your immigration status. If you are a non-white male in America, the precedents came from us, ethnic Black Americans, hands down. That is why you are here, because they used everything that we fought for, and you tethered yourself and piggybacked and jumped on our backs to get it. And we fought for you and we try to help you until we realize how anti-Black a lot of you guys are. And so now we're quiet. If this was 10 years ago, we would be up in arms trying to help you, trying to fight for you, and now we're quiet. Now, I don't know what they're going to rule. It seems like, you know, it's going to be a hard road to get this passed in the Supreme Court, but Trump has pulled rabbits out of his hat before. And this is what I want us to understand. You have to, ethnic Black Americans, you have to have pride in your culture and community, because you have to understand that everything we have and everything that these people have in this country is off of us. This includes the non-melanated, because we built this country, okay? It includes every other group that comes to this country because we set the precedents for them to come to this country. And you need to stand up and start gatekeeping. It's funny to see the gingers and everybody like saying, oh, we're Black now because we're gingers. It's cute, but it's not, we need to gatekeep, okay? We need to stop letting everybody come in, because look at the silence of supposedly your allies, these people of color and all this stuff, where they don't want to give you, your ancestors, any credit for them being in this country. They don't even want to talk about it. They don't even want to give us the credit when it is the center, it is the foundation of the entire argument. And they don't even want to mention it or talk about it. Sotomayor started talking about gypsies. So listen up.
The Constitution.
Respectfully, I think what we have are lower courts making snap judgments on the merits that ignore the fundamental principle of the 14th Amendment, that it was about giving citizenship to the children of slaves, not to the children of illegal immigrants who really were not even a very discreet class at that time. And that's the sort of argument that deserves
Congress
percolation.
who argued against the 13th Amendment just because of that. Some people who argued against passing the amendment just because of that, because it would give citizenship to gypsies.
I think the relevant history of the 14th Amendment is the statements of Senator Trumbull, who emphasized that domicile was the key criterion. He said that in a letter to Andrew Jackson, and we've cited in our Ninth Circuit briefing a host.
Well, if you've watched to this end, thank you once again, and let's get down to it. The Supreme Court of the United States made a landmark ruling, that is with regards to the Trump versus Barbara case, in which Trump was trying to use his executive powers to make constitutional amendments that would change the definition of the birthright citizenship of the United States. And by doing this, we're getting to see that the 14th Amendment, which is a very important and crucial law, especially with regards to the Black American community, will be altered with, and this will actually redefine how citizenship will be perceived in the United States. And as I mentioned before, Trump has always been hell-bent, that is, in making America great again by taking out or deporting individuals of a certain groups out of the country, and this can be seen in the multiple deportation that have happened since he came into power. And again, with the reinforcements of the border between the United States and Mexico, we're getting to see that the United States is currently experiencing one of the times where there has been the lowest income of immigrants into the country. And most people believe that this will be the end of Trump's war against the immigrants, and actually he's trying to push it, and you're getting to see that in his recent birthright citizenship revocation case, in which Trump was trying to redefine who or how an American citizen would be. And in his case, he claimed that individuals who were born by either illegal or temporary citizens or migrants in the country would not automatically become citizens of the United States, as according to the 14th Amendment, any individual born within the United States would acquire citizenship by birth or naturalization. And so, with Trump's war against immigrants, it has become hard to deport children born to immigrants in the country, as these individuals are actually defined as citizens of the United States. And once this case had actually passed, we're getting to see that America would actually be different, as this would actually encourage the development of two-tier citizenship in the United States, with one group consisting of individuals who are born to parents who are native to the United States, and the other born to individuals or parents who are immigrants or temporary visitors to the United States. And this will actually directly impact the Black American community. As we all know, the history between the Black American community and the United States with regards to citizenship is something that has been fought for, and this war was actually won during the Civil Rights Movement war, that we go to see Black Americans finally got to warn against the Dred Scott laws that prohibited the former slaves or their descendants from ever becoming citizens of the United States. And after the 14th Amendment was passed, you're getting to see that all the Black Americans and all the descendants of former slaves were given the automatic birthright citizenship that they are still enjoying to date. And with Trump trying to make amendments to this law, we're getting to see that he was also indirectly targeting the Black American community. As you all understand that once this law came into passing, the Black American community would again be targeted in one way or another, as most of them will be forced to redefine their citizenship, as this would again be bringing back America to the Dred Scott laws, where we're getting to see that the definition of American citizenship would highly be altered with. And other than that, most people are actually happy that this amendment proposal by Donald Trump didn't pass, due to the mere fact that it will again act as a predecessor, in which you are getting to see that the executive fears will use their influence to bypass the tedious constitutional process of making constitutional amendments, something that would highly be unconstitutional and would affect multiple group of individuals in the United States. And other than this, you're getting to see that not every American is actually celebrating this landmark ruling by the Supreme Court of the United States. And this again goes to the fact that the judicial bench that was tasked with this amendment case, you're getting to see that 6 out of the 9 members who sat for this case voted against it, with 3 of them actually encouraging this change of birthright definition in the United States. And what again stood out to most Black Americans is the fact that among the 3 judges who were actually voting to promote this amendment, one of them was a Black judge. And given the fact that if this law had actually been passed, it is the Black American community that will be the first to be affected. And this has raised also multiple online debates and questioning in how Black Americans have constantly been used to demean and bring down each other. But again, back to the general population, we're getting to see that the opinions with regards to this landmark ruling is quite divided, with some Black Americans believing that the government was actually trying to do a bad thing to change this birthright definition, as it would directly affect them and other immigrants who had settled in the country, given the fact that this group of individuals are always coupled together as being the minority group in the United States, while for others, they believe that this rule should actually be passed, as it would enable the United States government to differentiate, that is the true descendants of the slaves in the United States, from that of the immigrants who are actually benefiting from all the civil rights movement wars that we are getting to see the majority of the Black American community fought for in the United States. And so this has been the baseline for the debate, and as you're getting to see that to most Black American community members, this is actually a big win to them, and also to all the immigrants currently legally staying in the United States, this is another win for them as they are finally getting to have another lifeline to survive with in the United States. Well, this again gets to mark the end of this episode. Thank you once again for watching to this end, and see you in the next episode.